yourself if you'd like to. It's always good to hear you guys laughing. It makes the comments feel good. It makes everybody feel good. But if you're in a loud or noisy place, then by all means, you can remain muted. Also, we'd love to see my camera. Oh. Okay, sorry, I thought I heard somebody talking. Anyways, yeah, feel free to, keep your cameras on so we can see you. Feel free to leave yourself unmuted. But just remember to kind of be quiet if you can, so that way the comic does not lose their train of thought during their set. We do this show every other Thursday. So thank you for coming tonight. Hopefully you can make it next week. Or not next week. Hopefully you can make it next time. Tonight on our lineup, we have some really awesome comics for you. We have Abby Mello. She is a Baltimore comic. Really, really funny. Love her stuff. And we have Jani Tillery. Again, she is another really hilarious, one of my favorite women in comedy. She is based in DC. And then we have our headliner, Robert Mack, making his I guess, is this your Zoom debut, Robert? I'm not sure if it is or not, but I haven't seen him perform on Zoom before, so it's new. It's new for me, and I'm looking forward to it.
Here it is.
Hi, Robert. It's good to see you. And yeah, shout out to Beth and Joel for being the first ones here and, just being very enthusiastic. Thank you for the support. It's always good to have people who just enjoy coming to the show. It's what keeps us going. And yeah, we're gonna get started probably around 8:45 or so. Is that right, Pete? Okay, cool. And then yeah, audience members, feel free to interact in the chat when the comic is doing their set. And again, feel free to laugh. That's what we're here to do, right? Is to laugh. And yeah, I hope I can fill Kim's shoes. I don't know. I was telling everybody before the show that she's so much more organized than I am. It's really impressive, honestly. She gave me a show rundown to follow, and it's like to the minute. So I'm very impressed. Usually whenever I do shows, I'm like kind of not winging it, but hoping for the best, hoping nobody is hurt. Okay, so and then our host for the evening is another DC-based comic. Miss Reem Celine. She will be your host for this evening. Really looking forward to seeing her perform as well. Hey Reem, how are you doing?
Good. How are you, Alani?
I am a-okay. I'm super happy to see you host. So
maybe.
Yeah. Are you ready?
I am ready. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready. I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be.
My own mic.
Yay!
All right. Hello. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing? Show of hands or show of real hands or virtual hands, whatever hand, your claws. If you've got claws, if you got paws, show me your paws. I love animals. I'm so happy to be here. Oh my gosh, this is the first time I'm doing comedy on Zoom. I've been doing comedy for a long time. Not Zooming, but standing very still in person. And I miss it. So this is great. Thank you so much for having me. Silver Spring, how's Silver Spring? So show of hands, how many of you have had a shit year? Just a shit ass year. Yes, there we go. Thumbs up. Yeah, no, I've had a shit year myself, you guys. It's been poopy, but let's just get around the big elephant in the room. My name is Reem. That's my real name. That's a real name that my parents gave me. My father, he named me after his passion, which is paper. He's a paper tycoon.
Reem.
Just kidding. He's a porn star. He really reamed my mom, you guys.
Oh.
Yes. A really good, neat, cute story. I grew up really awkward. I was an awkward child. I don't know what gave that away. Maybe it's me talking about my daddy issues on a microphone, but I grew up super awkward, and I had braces and glasses and a back brace, and this list keeps going. I had corrective shoes because I walked like a goose. That was real life. I was 90% metal, you guys. And I'm already Arab. I don't need that at the TSA. I don't need that. People are already feeling threatened. So my dad, he gave me this talk. He sat me down when we first moved here from Saudi Arabia. Fun fact. Fun capital of the world. I know it's a fun fact because every time I tell people that, they're always like, oh, grew up in Saudi Arabia. That's fun. Glad you're here. No, yeah, it's weird. And or they're like, you grew up in Saudi Arabia? I love hummus. Joke my friend tells that I love to tell with her. So my dad, he gave me this talk. He was like, Reem, we're going to America now. And in America, there are American boys. And American boys, they only want one thing. You know, I knew he meant this, you know. You guys see? Can everybody see? I knew he meant here, you know. I knew he meant that, but you know, so I was really disappointed that I went into the bathroom the next day and I got my period for the first time. And I was like, great, now my vagina's broken. So add that to the list. There's no brace for that one. That's a joke because I have a and that's pretty much a brace for that one. Yeah, so yeah, I had a shit year, I had a hard year. And it has a lot to do with my dad, funny enough. My dad got COVID. Fun. He got COVID last year. And then I went to go see him. I was gowned up like a Monsters, Inc. employee. Eyelash to toenail. And I walk in there and very uncomfortable, obviously. And the nurse is telling me, she's like, telling me all this shit. She's just like, look, his skin is flaky. All right. He's peeling like a snake. Okay. Don't touch him. I was like, a lot of shit to take in. All right. And I was like, why? And she goes, you touch that shit, you're gonna get shit. You're gonna get an infection. All right. And I was like, oh, I don't want that. So I'm talking to my dad, sharing some music with him. And some shit happens. So he gets this look on his face and then he gets really angry. And then he pulls up his gown and he shows me his dick and balls covered in a lake of shit, just covered in poo. And I have questions, right? So he starts screaming before I ask them and is like, clean up my shit. And so I am like remembering the nurse and I'm like, nurse said, don't touch that shit, even if there's shit. So I go to the door and I scream for the nurse and I'm like, there is shit, nurse, come get this shit. And then the nurse comes in and she ended up getting fired because of how scared she was of COVID, but she put on at least 50 gowns and took her sweet time and iceberged herself in there. And then she starts cleaning up the shit. And my dad, he's just giving me the stink eye the entire time this woman is wiping him. And he's just like, I cleaned up your shit when you were born and you can't clean up my shit when I'm dying.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was funny. It was pretty hilarious. And that was probably one of the funniest, weirdest shit that's happened to me. I'll never look at shit the same. So he died after that, but we'll remember him. And I remember that moment because he was fucking hilarious. I will say he did teach me a lot of things, and some things he taught me were great, and other things he taught me were fucked up, like how tampons take your virginity. He told me that in Saudi Arabia. He said tampons are like little penises that take your virginity. And I don't think that was very wise, but otherwise he was pretty wise. And I hope you're all picturing the same propaganda that I am, which is a woman yelling at a man yelling at a woman in a burqa on a billboard in the desert, and he's holding a tampon and he's saying, "Don't let them in." So I had to learn how to put in a tampon while hiking with my best friend in Valley Forge Park. You guys ever heard of Valley Forge Park? Historians, some history nerds out there. We were hiking in Valley Forge Park, and I got my period, and all I had was nothing. I had nothing. And my friend had tampons. So, you know, I was like, it's happening. So I went into her car, and I'm standing, and not on the floor of the car because that doesn't make any sense. I need leverage. I'm standing on the chair of the car like a wild feral ape, and I'm trying to put the tampon in. And listen, you guys, I'm really glad that this happened. I've never felt more American in my life. I have never felt more patriotic. And it's because I finally realized that I have something in common with President George Washington. And that's that we both left a trail of our bloody footprints at Valley Forge Park. All right. Well, I hope that you guys are kind of sad, but also really excited to start this shit. Our first comedian, I hope you guys are really excited. She did some comedy in Philly too, and I'm a huge fan of Philly comedians who like Philly. Everyone give it up for Abby Mello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Reem. What a lovely introduction. Thank you for opening the show for us. Thank you, Alani, for making this all go, along with Pete. Thank you both. So I don't know. I can't see all of you, but I'll scroll through. If you could give me a react. Are we Maryland people here? How many people are in Maryland? Nobody's reacting. You guys have these fun little react things you can use down here at the bottom. Okay, a couple Marylanders. So I'm up in Baltimore, so I know there's a bit of a beltway rivalry between DC and Baltimore, but I gotta say, we are pretty sick of people talking shit about Baltimore. Like even the former president was tweeting about our rats and our trash and our crime. But if you ever visit here, you know that you actually need to be afraid of our crumbling infrastructure. Yeah, statistically speaking, you're more likely to be taken out by a pothole than a stray bullet in Baltimore. That is. I don't have any felonies, so I get to do jury duty in Baltimore every year. It's a small pool of us. It's okay though. The last time I got called for jury duty during the voir dire process, I ended up having to recuse myself from being a juror on this murder trial because I realized the defense attorney and we use the same weed guy. That happened. Oh man. So we gotta talk about COVID. We gotta talk about COVID, right? I thought I actually had it earlier, but my doctor was like, no, it's just allergies. You just take a Benadryl. And of course I was relieved, but I went and bought the Benadryl and I looked on the package and it says right on there, do not mix with alcohol. So you guys can give a react out there if you're drinking tonight. I am not, but I hope you are. I like drinking. So I Googled what happens if you mix Benadryl and alcohol. And if you Google that, the first thing that comes up is a banner ad for a drug and alcohol recovery center. Like, do you have a problem with drinking? That is awfully judgy, Google, but you might have a point there, yeah. been doing the work from home thing. Actually, we're about just past the 1-year anniversary of work from home. I realized a year ago when I started my first day of work from home that I don't know any of my passwords to anything. And it turns out, y'all, that you can know like 95% of your password, but if you don't know the whole thing, it's exactly the same as if you knew 0% of your password. They do not give you partial credit. But I also, for the first time in my whole life, I'm caught up on laundry, thanks to work from home. Yeah, I'm very proud of that. Yeah, but I did realize something about laundry, which is like you put in a load of laundry and you think you're being productive, but you're not. You're just being optimistic that you're going to want to be productive an hour and a half from now when you have to fold all that shit. Future productivity. Been doing a lot of Zoom, not a lot of Zoom comedy. Thank you, Improbable, for having me on the show. I have not been doing a lot of Zoom comedy, but I have been doing a lot of Zoom meetings. A lot of Zoom meetings with my coworkers' children in them. I was in a meeting the other day, and a coworker of mine, her 5-year-old, informed me, Miss Abby, when I grow up, I'm going to marry Santa. And I was like, I have some follow-up questions. So I asked her, why did she want to marry Santa? And she said, because he brings the best presents. So I decided to turn this into a feminist teachable moment for this young lady. And I said, it is 2021. You do not need to marry a man to provide for you. You know, she got like this, thank you, Alana. Yeah, she got like this glimmer of like feminist understanding in her eyes. And she was like, you're right, Miss Abby. When I grow up, I'm going to marry grandma.
Grandma.
She knows where the presents come from, y'all. She's a smart little kid. I've been watching way too much Netflix. That's what I'm going to be doing after this show. At the very beginning of the great quarantine here, I started watching Orange is the New Black. So if you're not familiar with that show, it's a show about women who are all stuck in prison. So here I was stuck at home watching a show about women stuck in prison. And like, I couldn't help myself but to like, you know, imagine like, which character would I be? Like, would I be the one who's always doing yoga? Or like, would I be in the law library? You know, and then like 2 weeks into quarantine, I was like, toilet wine. I would get very good at toilet wine. That would be my contribution. You can sense, you guys, there's a theme here. I do like to drink. I've also, anybody a true crime fan out there? Do we have true crime people? We have a lot of ladies in the audience. This tends to be our demographic, yeah. I've been watching lots of true crime stuff. I was watching the other day a cold case episode with a very dramatic narrator. And he was like, this is gonna be like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle, a very old jigsaw puzzle, where some of the pieces are missing and some of the pieces are dead. I was like, that's not a thing. That's not, like, you had that analogy all the way through and just like right at the end, dead puzzle pieces. Like that's not a thing, dude. That's not a thing. You know, like nobody's getting to the end of a very old jigsaw puzzle, shaking the box like, well, great. 3 of these pieces are missing and another 5 are dead. Never gonna solve this cold case now. That's not what happens. But I have to say, Alana, I know you said that you are also a true crime person. My true crime obsession is becoming a bit of a problem in my relationship. So I do not live with my significant other. We co-quarantine. So he comes over here to my house. We sit down to watch something like the Great British Baking Show. But first, we have to scroll through page after page of the murder porn that I've been watching while he was over his house. And you know, sometimes like, hey, babe, you sure are watching a lot of serial killer shows. Everything okay? You know? And I get very defensive, you know, I'm like, hey, there wouldn't be dozens and dozens of shows on this stuff if it weren't a normal thing to be into. There wouldn't be all this content if it weren't normal. So basically, I turn into like a teenage boy whose mom found his browser history. No, I am. I mentioned my significant other a second ago. He's a great person. We one of the problems that I'm having though is I don't know what to call the person that I'm dating. Like I'm in my late 30s. Like I don't want to call him my boyfriend. You know, like this isn't junior high. He didn't ask me out by like slipping me a note in homeroom. Like, no, he slid into my Facebook DMs like a grown up. Do it.
You like to see.
I want to say something sophisticated like my partner, but this is not a law firm. And also I feel like sometimes like women my age, when we use the term partner, just means we're swingers. I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. But no, I love my significant other, my boyfriend. We actually met because of comedy. Yeah. Because if you can listen to me talk for like 10 minutes straight, just uninterrupted, and still want to bang me afterwards, that's a solid foundation to a relationship, guys. Like, we are off to a good start. Oh man, we actually reached a relationship milestone thanks to COVID. Yeah, you can't really tell from my camera angle here, but we are 10 pounds into the relationship, y'all. 10 pounds. Getting very comfortable. Yeah. My significant other, he's combating the weight gain by jogging. He ran 3 times last week, and I know that because he told me about it 10 times. Yeah. But no, the magic is going a little bit. I used to try to keep it sexy for him, like send him like a hot cleavage selfie from the office during the day with a little note like, hey, you want to eat this for dinner? I don't know if that's sexy, but that's what I would say. But now I send the same message, but it's just a link to a soup recipe. Yeah. Awesome. I'll leave you guys with this. I think I'm getting close to my time, but I'll leave you with this. He's a nice guy, and I'm wondering if there's any nice guys out there that might be willing to admit that they're a nice guy with a raise of a hand, or any nice guys out there tonight? Seeing none. Okay. Pete says he's a nice guy. Thank you. Look. There's lots of men out there tonight. If you're out there tonight and you are not willing, you're a nice guy, but you're not willing to admit it. I know the problem. It's because you've heard the bad boy propaganda about them. They finished last. Have you heard that? That is not always true. Sometimes they finish before you. The nice ones like whisper, ask you if it's okay if they finish before you. It's adorable. Okay, it's all nice guy, y'all. Thank you so much. My name is Abby Mello. You have all been delightful. Thank you. Have a great night.
Everyone give it up for Abby Mello.
Oh, is she?
Awesome. I love that. My partner is making me soup right now, actually. It's great. And I call him my partner, and he gets confused at work for me all the time. It makes me uncomfortable and makes me really happy. Anyway, I hope you guys are all warmed up and excited and feeling giggly for your next performer. Is everybody feeling giggly and ready? Okay. Your next performer, hilarious, great hair, Jani Tillery.
Oh, hello. So I am, unlike Abby, I am single. I've been single for a really long time. I was single even before COVID got started. And people, they ask me, they're like, how can that be, Jani? But let me tell you something, it be, okay? It be big time. Okay, closest thing I've had to sex in the past few years is a pap smear. People are like, oh, you should get a vibrator then. I'm like, I just wait for my annual. The thing about it is with the with the quarantine and pandemic, people try to encourage me about being single. They're like, well, that's okay that you're single. Just do you for now. And it's like, I've done me. Okay, I've done me more times than any one person should ever do oneself. Okay. I'm tired of doing me, okay? Or they said I've become a better person. You hear this? I think I saw this on the Today Show. They said something like, you should try to become a better version of yourself. That's how you meet someone, become a better version of yourself. And it's like, that's all lies. It's all lies. I don't believe that at all. I've never heard a guy say he wanted a woman who would become a better version of herself, okay? Because I feel like if that were true, I would be married by now, okay? Not to toot my own horn, but like no one on the planet has worked harder at becoming a better version of themselves. Okay, I go to counseling. I get therapy once a week. I'm a lawyer, but I help children with disabilities that live in poverty. You know, like I've taken acting classes to enrich my life. I've taken so many acting classes. I have a better chance of becoming an Oscar winner than I do, you know, meeting a decent guy to date. Okay. You know, I've improved my Spanish. I just came from Spanish class. You know, yo hablo español. ¿Dónde está mi hombre? Él no está aquí. I mean, I don't understand it, you know? And I have two sisters. I have two sisters. They're both married and they haven't worked on themselves at all. Okay. So this is my advice, women, just stay however way you are, just stay that way. I don't think working on yourself is the key to doing this, you know, to meeting someone. My therapist was like, oh, well, you know, maybe you need to think about why you're single. Think about why do you think it is that you're single? I know why I'm single, okay? I'm single for the same reason it's hard to buy a house in this country right now, okay? Low inventory, you know? It's true. I mean, all the good ones are under contract. And the ones that have been on the market for a long time, they're pretty much so messed up on the inside. Nobody wants them, you know. So, but I know what you're thinking. You guys are probably all thinking like, hey, what about online dating? Has anyone met their husband, their partner, their girlfriend on online dating? No one? Yeah, right. One person. Okay, Reem. Okay, so what site was it? Oh, and Elaine? What was it? Bumble?
Oh
my
girl
gosh,
gets
Elaine. Oh. What about you, Elaine?
It was also Bumble for
Really?
me.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've tried them all. I'm gonna tell you, I hate it. I've tried all of the sites. I've tried Bumble, I've tried Hinge, I've tried Match.com, eHarmony, Black People Meet, OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, JDate, Elite Singles. That's the one that my mom just, you know, told me about. Our Time, that's for the 50 and up crowd. But none of them have worked. My therapist is like, you should still do it. So of course I do it because I'm paying her. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do it again. But like, because I was thinking like, maybe this will be the time that, you know, we'll see the best that online dating has to offer because everyone's home. But it turns out it's like the same tired trolls that were on it before, the same tired trolls that are on it now. I mean, like it's the same thing. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of guys on these sites, you know, but it's kind of like Aldi, you know, it's like there's guys on there, but they're all kind of off brand, you know. So, but anyway, like I still like I still tried it. I don't really see much different. I do think the guys are really phoning in their profiles these days. Like I saw this one, like, you know, you have your picture and then you have like your about me section. Like I saw this guy the other day, his profile was just, his about me section was just beer and meat. Like that was all he put. Like some girl is just waiting like, oh my gosh, he said beer and meat. That's all I need to hear. Like, I mean, I don't understand that. Like just phoning it in. I see a lot of guys with their shirts off. It's like, put your shirt back on. Like, why is your shirt off? You know, like, why are you sitting in your car with your seatbelt on and your shirt off? Like that's not impressive to me, you know? Or you see a lot of guys talking about what they like to drink. I don't know if you've been on these sites. A lot of the guys talk about they put in their profiles, bourbon, whiskey. I love bourbon. I love whiskey. Like to me, that is not relevant to dating. Like it's not how you build a relationship. You know, like I like green Kool-Aid, you know, it's delicious. It's refreshing. It's thirst quenching. It's good over rocks, you know, ice. It's a beautiful green color. But like, I don't put it in my dating profile. You know why? Because you cannot build a relationship off green Kool-Aid, you know? I also think there's one thing also too, I feel like it's always in the profiles. Guys they put these three things in a profile. The guy lives an active lifestyle. He loves the outdoors and he travels a lot. Like that's just your standard profile that a guy's going to put in there, you know? And it doesn't tell me anything about the guy. I just feel like it's like, just like the average lifestyle of a mosquito. Like it doesn't give me any more information, you know? You see the guys, or the guys, I don't understand, like, why does every guy love the outdoors? I don't understand. Like you see the guys are like holding up a trout fish, you know, they're cooking a fish on a tree stump, they're drinking out of a river, just like that's the picture they have on there. You know, I don't get that. Like I don't understand. Like my idea of fresh seafood is like a hot fillet of fish sandwich from McDonald's. Like that's as fresh as I need to get. Like I don't need to see the fish's eye color or anything like that, you know? But guys, they think that that's something, or that like they want to sound cool about, like the other thing is like food, you know, like, well, I'm a foodie, you know. It's like, so was Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, I mean, I do not care so much about like how much food, different foods you eat, you know. Like I don't want to end up in a Chick-fil-A dipping sauce at the end of the day. That's my thing, you know. So I mean, guys will ask you though, they'll be like, what kind of foods are you into? Do you like Mediterranean? Do you like all these different foods? And it's like, no, I have allergies. Okay. I carry an EpiPen. I get allergy shots, you know. It's not that I'm trying to be uncultured. It's just, I don't want to die, you know. Like, I feel like if you want me to have something international, the most international I want to get, take me to the International House of Pancakes. Like that's as international as I want to get. Okay, like International House of Pancakes, like IHOP, their idea of international is just like putting a dollop of whipped cream on all their pancake dishes. Like that's the extent of it, you know. Like the rest of the menu is quite American, you know. It's just like hamburgers and French fries, sausage, bacon, eggs. Like there's nothing international about it, you know. So other thing I see, I feel like you see like a lot of guys saying like they want someone sarcastic. Like what? Like you don't see guys in their profiles saying like, I want someone who's caring or loving. It's just like, I want someone who's sarcastic, or I'm a sarcasm lover, which in comedy, yes, we use it, but like in real life, like sarcasm is like little red pepper flakes, you know, that you get with your pizza, okay. Like, you know, a little garlic sauce. And a little goes a long way. You really don't need that many, you know, you don't need that much. That's why Chandler Bing was single for so long, okay? Because it was off-putting, you know? Anyway, so like I'm going on and on about dating. I'll just say one other thing. I will tell you that in my day job, I am a lawyer. That also hasn't helped my dating life at all. No one wants to date a woman who's been formally trained to argue. So, you know, it doesn't help. I tried to date a cop once. That didn't work. I was thinking, you know, lawyer, law enforcement, but it didn't work. Really, you know, it didn't work. It should have, but, you know, I work in the law. He's above it. It just wasn't a good idea. But I'll just end there. I won't even go on from there. I'm going to end because my time is up. So I will thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome. Give it up one more time for Jani Tillery. Put some reacts, y'all. Woo! Clap, clap, clap. Oh, man. In these tough times, we got to practice gratitude. Gratitude. We got to practice both, honestly. We got to practice gratitude. I'm grateful for that set. Oh, man. So next up, really funny guy. You'll love him. Robert Mack, everybody. Woo!
Hey, everybody. Hi. I'm Robert Mack from robertmack.com. This should be a lot of fun, and I want to emphasize should. This is so comfortable for me because when I was a kid growing up, I spent my nights alone in my bedroom pretending that I was the star of my own comedy show. And now look, it's come true. So so thank you for being here. And I know the other performers have said thanks, and I mean it. And I just want to say it for myself because I don't think they meant it. But it's nice to see so many faces. And this I've been locked indoors for a year, just like everyone. And I'd rather see little faces online rather than covered faces in the real world, because I will always associate masks with someone who wants to take my money, like a bank robber or my doctor. I think we have a need to connect. And in fact, I saw a neighbor the other day that I haven't seen in months, and I was just so overwhelmed. I went in like this, which you can't do anymore. You can't shake. And so then I thought I would do a fist bump, and I don't know if that's safe or not. So I ended up just doing that. And that's how crazy things are right now, is that scissors beats rock and paper. That's how crazy it's been. It's been a long year, I know. I live in Silver Spring. This is supposed to be a Silver Spring comedy show, so we have to have one Silver Springer, and that's me. Thank you. If you don't know the area, I live right outside of DC. I'm on the red line, which I call the comet because it comes once every 78 years. That's convenient. What I love about driving around, though, this is what I've learned. I don't take the metro. I haven't taken the metro much in the last year, but when I drive to like DC, my GPS says, welcome to the District of Columbia, and there's like a little state flag of DC. And then when I drive back to Maryland, you get the welcome to Maryland. But I notice when you go to Virginia, you don't see the Virginia state flag. Does anyone know what's on the Virginia state flag? I'm going to open the floor. Anyone have an idea? The Virginia state flag is a half topless woman standing on a corpse holding a sword, and it says death to tyrants in Latin. It's the only state flag depicting a homicide. So you don't see it a lot. But it gave me the idea, when you drive to a state, maybe the state flag, when it pops up on the GPS, could give you more information about the state. Because the Maryland state flag, if we could run that clip. Can we run that clip? The Maryland state flag is two flags. It's four flags. It's one flag. It looks like a teacher had 2 students and 3 markers and 5 minutes and said, okay, everybody, flag contest, go! And you both win. And it turns out it's the coat of arms of people who live in another country, which in these days of sedition and overthrowing the government, that's probably not a good idea. So I thought the new Maryland state flag, to really depict what the state's like when you drive in, pops up on your GPS. It would be a picture of a crab, obviously, right? Writing somebody a ticket as it comes out of a pothole. I thought that would be a better representation. And do we have so I don't have it yet, but if I did, it would exist right here. So that's the new, in your imagination, this is the new Maryland state flag. You guys have to do some of the heavy lifting as well. It's been a crazy year. I'll admit it. And I've been reading emails. I read hundreds of email messages every day, some of them addressed to me, but I've been getting a lot from my daughter's teachers. And last night I did a show for a school, and it was mostly teachers but administrators, and they've had it worse than everybody, because if you think back over the last year, there have been presidents who are blaming school districts and threatening to withhold funding, and then there are school boards who are blaming governors, and citizens who are blaming teachers. And I had an epiphany. And no, not an epiphany. What do you call it? A corn dog. I had a corn dog, a couple of them. And while I was eating the corn dogs, I had a sudden moment of insight, which was, with all this blaming going on, we're forgetting the most important part of the whole equation, which is the kids, right? Let's blame them, because if they were a little bit smarter, we wouldn't need so many schools in the first place. It's a no-brainer, which is how I thought of it. And then I'm going to be honest with you. When I left school, I never really thought of school. And then I volunteered for my daughter when she started to go to school, and I really got the idea of what it's like on the inside. And I've been worrying. And when I worry, I get this little tightness right here, right by the microphone. I get a little tightness because I'm worrying about, how is she going to do this year? And they're talking about coming back to school, and how is that going to work out? And then how many summer classes is she going to have to take? And how many months do we have to wait until things become normal? And how many corn dogs did I have? Because it's really starting to feel really tight there. And it turns out that stress point is the same place where I get acid reflux. It's really not a good design at all. I don't know who came up with that. Is it dread or indigestion? Who knows? I'm not an expert. I don't know the body, but I do know where to get answers. I keep at my bedside, I keep a Bible, because my bed frame has a gap about that wide. And I decided to look through my Bible because I know it has answers. So I start in the very beginning, before all the ads. And in the very first chapter, it says that we are created in God's image. And the way I interpret that is maybe we have the same body as God, right? If we're created in his image, and does God get indigestion? Probably not. I'm going to guess not, because he's the all-being master of time, space, and dimension. He probably gets the best corn dogs of anyone. I mean, if he had access to everything, he's not going to have food that gives him indigestion. So probably not. No. And so then my next question is, does he worry? Does he dread or have any sense of anxiety? And again, I don't think so. He gets adulation all day long. So that's probably not that. And by this point, I have a headache, which is either confusion or Ebola. I'm not sure, but I go over it in much greater detail in my new book, God Gets the Best Corn Dogs, In Search of Meaning in Today's Chaotic Times. And it really gets to the question of, is this heartbreak or just heartburn? I'm not sure, but I took some Tums and they didn't work, so I think it's just good old-fashioned stress, and that's hard to get rid of, but there are things you can do. I like to go running. That's what I do. My wife, I do have a wife. Sorry, ladies and curious boys. I'm married, and I know a lot of the other performers were talking about dating and apps and websites, and we met the old-fashioned way. I plundered her village. What I do to relieve stress is to go out and go for a run. My wife likes to go on a bike ride, and this is 100% true. She got into an accident on her bike, and her top of her femur snapped off in her hip. Do we have any medical professionals out there by chance? Does anyone know? They say the only thing worse than a broken femur is a wife with a broken femur, which is what I have. And it's no bed of roses, I'll tell you that, because for 2 weeks after the accident, you can't even sit down when you have wife with broken femur, because he's always asking you to get stuff. I need more meds. Okay, and take me to the bathroom and adjust the bandages. And that's the first symptom. Ringing in the ears is the first symptom of wife with broken femur. And it just goes on and on. Drain the fluid bag, and I'm ready. It's good for the quads. That's the only good thing about WBF. And I use my quads when I run, and I don't want to sound elitist because I'm better than that. But I was on my high school cross country team for 5 years, so I know how to use the quads, I guess. I'm a big fan of science. I follow it religiously. In fact, we live in this time where people are questioning some stuff that we shouldn't question in science. Like, there's a group of people who say the planet is flat, and they're not going to argue. And then there's another group that says the planet is round, and they're not going to argue because they're smarter. And so it's my job, when you're a professional communicator, of which being good at, I am one of them, guys, it's my job to get everyone on the same page, which is why I say maybe the planet is round and flat, like a pizza. That's why the outside is called the crust. Come on, everybody. They don't rate themselves. I wanted to learn more about my family. I did a 23andMe test. Has anyone done a 23andMe test? Beth or Joel, I can't tell. It says Beth and Joel, and so the person on the right, I'm guessing, is Joel. Yes, Joel, with your hand up. What, did you take it, Beth?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to shake your head a little bit louder. And Beth, did you learn anything?
Well, can you hear me?
Barely.
I learned that I had a half sister somewhere.
You learned that you had a half sister. So that's crazy. Did it just blow your mind?
Yeah, it did. Because I pretty much know that that wasn't true. But for the hour that I read that information, it was.
Wait. Stop for a minute. Hold on a second here. So I was talking about how people don't believe science. And so you got the scientific test that said you have a half sister, but she only existed for an hour.
Well, because, they say you have 40% of the same DNA. So she could either be your third cousin or your sister.
Oh, okay. And did you figure it out?
Well, process of deduction, I figured out she was my third cousin.
Or half cousin, third sister, or one.
Something like that. Yeah.
But to the point is that you learned something new about where you come from as a person.
Yeah, actually, I met a friend that we have. I found out.
Okay, I don't have time to hear the whole. You go take your seat back at the couch. That was great. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm done.
Hand for Beth as she makes her way back to the audience. Thank you. Thank you. That was great. You're a great audience. I learned that my family, when my great grandfather and so grandmother came to our country, they left a lot of those stories at home, and so back in the old country, and so I didn't know a lot, and I took the thing, and I found out I'm mostly Eastern European and some Central European and a little bit of other European and a little bit of Native American, and I'm 1.3% Jeff Goldblum. Where are you going, Beth? She's going to look up Jeff Goldblum real quick.
There he is. Apartments.com.
Okay. I see people pop on for an instant. I'm glad we're having some fun here tonight. I didn't know how this was going to work out. So I want to thank you guys again for being here before I run out of time. I had another interesting science-y type thing. I recently read that a bunch of science men and the science ladies that they reluctantly allowed on board. And I'm just gonna, can I call times for a second? Okay. Which camera are we on? This one? Okay. For many years, it was just science men. And then they said, fine, we'll allow a science lady. And the first science lady was Marie Curie, who's the only person to win 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different fields of science. And she discovered radiation. And she discovered the only substance harder than diamonds. It's an avocado from Trader Joe's. What if the Russians weaponized that technology? If that avocado fell into the wrong hands, it would crush their hands because it's so. All right, time's back in. Anyway, so the sciencemen, they said it takes some time to go through all the different datums of the year, but they have determined that most of the time, most years, July is the hottest month of that particular year. And I thought back to when I was a kid. I grew up outside Seattle in a little town called Tucson, Arizona. And in Tucson, Arizona, it's hot. I mean, you fall asleep in the sun in Arizona, you wake up a different nationality. You know, it's like, ay, Dios mío, no tengo frío. You have to get another DNA test. And I got a half sister and Toy Story. But you're digressing the subject. All right, the point is that in Arizona, I thought back, July, it's always hot. All right, always July, always hot. Okay, so the evidence bears that out. But then what they said next, you might want to sit down for this. All right, sit down and listen up. What they said next, they said last July was the hottest month on Earth ever. And that's a bold statement to make because we're not done with ever yet. It's a little premature handing out trophies, all right? It might not even be the hottest month of the decade, all right? Let's see where it goes, science man, because ever is a long time. Ever for the Earth began when the Earth began, which was 4.5 billion years and 18 months ago. I've done all the homework for you guys, so you don't have to. And I talked to the experts, and they've told me the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, and that was 18 months ago. So you would have to add that to its age. And then the Earth will continue to exist for another 5 to 7 billion years, minus the 18 months we've already used up, at which point the sun will become a red giant and consume the planet. So that right there, that is ever for the Earth, and we're not even halfway done, and you don't crown a champion before mid-season, okay? I'm no gambling guy, but if I were, I'd put all my money on probably the last month of ever. I bet you that's going to be kind of hot, I think, when the sun expands 250 times its size and turns into a 5,000 degree ball of nuclear fusion, vaporizing every atomic bond that holds the Earth's very existence together. That's got to be hotter than last July, I think. Okay? When it gets hot, do what I do. Take a summer vacation to Alaska. Yeah. 7 days, 1 night in beautiful downtown Alaska. That wasn't everybody. If you could please explain that one to the quiet people, that would be great. Alani's in charge of the clock. Alani, how many are we doing here?
You get 1 minute and 28 seconds.
I have 1 minute and 28 seconds.
Yes, you just wasted 3.
And then what?
You wasted 3.
Okay. So here we go. I got to do some jokes. So listen up. Here we go. How many landlords does it take to screw in a light bulb? None. Also, she won't fix the sink. Do you guys
That's
like
good.
the rapper 50 Cent? Because I just bought 2 50 Cent CDs at the dollar store. Know your work. Pass. I'm trying to meet new people. I belong to a gym. He's very possessive. I went to a silent auction. I got a dog whistle and 2 mimes.
Okay.
I wish I was the guy who invented hotcakes because you know how well those things have sold. Yeah. Like wildfire. My recently divorced chemistry teacher says alcohol is a solution.
Yeah, that's cute.
I went to a dyslexic masseuse, really rubbed me the wrong way. And finally, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and New York Governor Andrew Cuomo walk into a bar.
Uh-oh.
Do not go to that bar. That's it for me. I'm Robert Mack from robertmack.com. Thank you so much. You can track me down at my website, and hope to see you there.
Thank you. Yay.
Yes, he was the best.
Mack, everybody!
Yay.
Oh man, if you love the comedy that you heard tonight, that was our last comic. And I hope that you can support these comedians with a tip on Venmo. So do that at Improbable Comedy on Venmo if you love the comedy tonight. Also, if you love the comedy tonight, we are having another show on April 8th for Improbable Comedy. So look that up, April 8th, 8:30. I want to say thank you, Improbable Comedy team, including Alani, Pete, Kim. Thank you for putting on a great show. We really appreciate you guys. And thank you to the audience for making it to a Zoom comedy show. We really appreciate your support. Support local comedy, and we hope to see you in person this summer. I'm going to leave you with one more thing and then head you back to Alani. Remember, please, during these times, to be radically kind, be radically curious, and be grateful. And I'm grateful for you guys, and I'm going to give it over to Alani. Thank you. I'm Reem Celine.
Yay! Thank you so much, Reem. Thank you, Abby, Mello, Jani, Tillery, and Robert Mack. You guys were great, and thank you, Reem, for hosting a wonderful show. As Reem stated, you can support the comics by sending them a tip on Venmo at Improbable Comedy. I think I posted the tag in the chat a couple different times during the show. And again, feel free to support the comics by not just tipping them, but follow them on social media. All of their tags are in the chat below. Our next show is April 8th, lineup to be announced. And shout out to Pete for helping run the show as well. It was really nice to be a PChem for a night. I've never been this organized before in my life. It may not happen again. So yeah, thanks everybody, and have a good rest of your night. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
See you summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Do I end the meeting now, Pete?
Oops. Sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?